Okay, let's dig into this. Ever feel like you need some kind of special power for coding, especially web stuff?
Oh, absolutely. Like X-ray vision or maybe time travel for debugging.
Exactly. You write the code, you think it should work, but then the browser does its own thing.
Right. And there's this gap, isn't there, between the code you wrote and what's actually happening on the screen. That's where things get tricky.
It's like this hidden layer of interpretation. HTML, CSS, JavaScript, server calls. It all happens kind of behind the scenes.
And understanding that process is key. So much time gets lost just trying to figure that part out.
Which brings us to browser developer tools or DevTools. These aren't optional extras anymore, are they?
No way. They're essential, like your co-pilot for building anything on the web.
And they're built right in. In Chrome, Firefox, Edge, you just right-click and hit Inspect or press F12. Super easy to access.
They really are fundamental. They turn that, black box of the browser into something you can actually look inside and understand.
So our mission here isn't just to list features. We want to unpack the core parts of DevTools.
Yeah, show you what they do and how they help you figure things out, how they level up your skills.
Right. Because knowing these tools is kind of the difference between hoping your code works and knowing why it works or why it doesn't.
Let's start with the console. Most people know it for error messages, maybe console.log.
Yeah, the browser's message board, basically.
It is, but the real power, I think, is that it's a live command line.
A command line inside the web page itself.
Exactly. You can type JavaScript right into it, and it runs immediately using the page's current state.
So, if I'm wondering what the value of some variable is right now.
Yep. Just type the variable name, hit enter, boom. Or maybe you want to quickly test calling a function.
Without editing my file and reloading?
Precisely. Do it straight in the console. It's fantastic for quick tests, checking assumptions, exploring things on the fly.
Okay, that's super useful for checking values and running quick tests. But what about, following the steps your code takes when things get complex?
Ah, right. For that, you need the sources panel, sometimes called the debugger.
This is where you see your actual code files, yeah. HTML, CSS, JavaScript.
All the stuff the browser downloaded. But the key feature here for JavaScript is setting breakpoints.
Breakpoints. Like putting a stop sign in your code.
Exactly like that. You click on a line number in your JavaScript, and when the browser gets to that line, it just pauses. Halts execution right there.
Freezing time.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And while it's paused, you get these, inspection superpowers.
Okay, tell me more. What can you do when it's paused?
Well, you can step through the code one line at a time, see the exact path it takes, step over a function call, step into it, step out again.
So you can trace the logic precisely.
Yes. And you can hover over or check any variable to see its current value. See the call stack, how you got to that point. You can even change variable values right there to see what happens.
Wow. Okay, that gives you incredible insight into what's happening while it's happening.
It really helps understand the flow and the state of your application at any given moment.
Okay, moving from logic to looks, layout, visual stuff. That's the elements panel, right? Your window into the HTML structure, the DOM.
Yep, the document object model. This panel is your absolute best friend for anything visual styling, layout problems.
How does it work? You click on something on the page.
Exactly. You can use an inspect tool to click an element or just find it in the HTML tree view. The panel then shows you that element where it sits in the structure.
And crucially, the CSS, I assume.
All the CSS rules being applied to it, and this is key. It shows you where each rule comes from, which style sheet, which line.
Ah, so no more wondering why that margin is there.
Right. And even better, you can toggle rules on and off with checkboxes or type new CSS styles directly into the panel.
And see the change live. Instantly.
Instantly. It's amazing for tweaking things. You fix the layout or style right there in the browser, then you just copy the working CSS back to your code editor.
That sounds like a huge time saver. Okay, last big one, the network panel. This is about communication, browser to server.
Yeah, this logs every single request the browser makes. Every file it fetches HTML, CSS, JS, images, and importantly, any data requests like API calls.
What kind of info do you get for each request?
You see the URL, the status code, like 200 for success, 404 not found, 500 server error, that kind of thing. You see the size of the response, how long it took to download.
Ah, so this is where you'd spot if, a big image is slowing down your page load.
Exactly. Or if an API call is failing or maybe returning data you didn't expect. It's essential for performance tuning and debugging anything involving server interaction.
It sounds like these panels really work together then. You might use elements to find a button, sources to debug its click code, and network to check the API call it makes.
Absolutely. They're interconnected. And getting comfortable with them, really exploring them, is just fundamental for web development. It moves you from guesswork to systematic problem solving.
It really changes debugging from a chore into more of an investigation, doesn't it?
It does. And honestly, the best way to learn is just to open them up while you're coding. Poke around, see what happens.
They really do empower you to understand what's going on under the hood.
Yeah.
So here's something to think about.
Okay.
Given that the Sources panel lets you literally pause your code, inspect everything, step through it, how might that capability change how you approach writing new code in the first place? Something to ponder.